My name is Ulisses Jr. A lot of you know me as Ulysses. I'm from a tiny little West African country called Sierra Leone. My dad is Sierra Leonean and my mom is Nigerian. Been involved in the fitness industry for over 25 years, bodybuilding and personal training. I've had a lot of hardships, and this is a story about a skinny African kid that never gave up. This is my story. My dad was pretty strict, actually. I used to call him the sniper. But I still appreciate him for being strict. Like, I used to wake up in the morning, I'd be up at 5:45 or 6 a.m. And before I do anything, I had to make his tea, his lemon tea. Take it up to his room, knock on the door. Here's your tea, Dad. Before I go and get myself ready for school.
The routine in the house is that we, as the kids, we got up at 5 o'clock in the morning. What would happen is Junior would have to make my father his tea, and then we have to exercise for about half an hour. We were allowed to play any music, but we weren't allowed to play Madonna. So we would play the music and we would have to exercise in the morning. And then after that, we'd clean the house. I was in charge of the steps. Junior was in charge, I think, of the sitting room and the bathrooms of this 6-bedroom house. And then after that, Junior would go and get his newspapers from the local newsagent and his 6 packs of Guinness. And then we would go to school.
One time I mustered up the courage to ask him. He wakes up at 5 a.m. before everyone. And I was like, Dad, you wake up at 5 a.m., you could just easily make your tea. You have to wake me up at 6 a.m. to come make your tea. And, you know, being a kid or a teenager, you don't want to wake up that early. And he actually sat me down and said he wasn't doing it to be mean or nothing. He was teaching me how to be disciplined. Now I see his lesson. I understand why every morning, if you have a task to do, you get up and get it done. That's it. There's a lot of hard work behind what you see. People always see the polished product, right? People will come to my house. For example, I had a delivery guy that came to my house and brought me a delivery. And he goes, man, I don't mean to be rude, but what do you do for a living? And I go, oh, I'm just a personal trainer. And he was like, get out of here. No, you're not. I was a personal trainer for years and I don't live like this. And I was like, nah, I am. I'm just a personal trainer. I actually wake up every day full of life, looking to progress more and look at everything and be like, you know what, I am thankful for this, but how do we still continue to get better? I would actually train a client in the morning, and then after that, I'd look through my emails, talk to my team, see what's happening for the day. Then after that, I put a couple of hours aside for that. Then I go into working with my training programs and meal plans. So I look what we have to do in terms of content and people I need to respond to, answer emails, etc. And that's usually my schedule. But to be honest with you, my favorite time during the day is gym time. Gym is my sanctuary. In order to be good at something, you have to be obsessed with it. I sometimes come in the gym and I stay here for 3-4 hours. I would work out for a couple of hours, take my time. I guess that's the great thing when you have your own home gym. I'm gonna show you my home gym where all the action goes down. Come with me. So I usually get my pre-workout with my creatine. I'm good to go. And sometimes I put on the music or I just put on the TV. One of my favorite years of bodybuilding was 1999 Olympia with Ronnie, Flex, Chris Cormier, and it's classic. So something like that keeps me motivated and I'm ready to pump.
Y'all really testing my patience. Right before I blow up the spot, I had to get back to the basics. What if my talent is wasted? And see what I'm lacking the placement. Thought since I rap in the basement, but my come up is legend, is greatness. I don't care now, it's pedal to the metal.
I just love being in the gym environment. One, because I think it helps my mental health and it makes me feel positive, it makes me feel good. You know, if you're having a bad day or a bad week or a project didn't go through or you've lost money or something, or you know, you're having a difficult time with your kids, whatever it is, you can come to the gym and be like, you know what, let me take an hour or two, I just train. The gym has helped me in so many ways, mentally, physically, confident-wise. So I really like that. I built this habit and it's not gonna change, so I'm always gonna train, I'm always gonna be fit. You can't look at my physique and say I'm dominant in one area. This guy's just trained legs, or this guy just trained chest. Yeah, I think that's why I'm probably well-rounded with my physique. And people used to think I train abs all the time, but not necessarily. Sometimes 3 times a week. It depends. If I have a function coming, then I'll train it maybe 4 or 5 times a week every day. But for the most part, 2 to 3 times a week is when I train it. What's up, guys? The best thing about building a good physique is making sure your nutrition is on point. Like, I had a busy day today running around. When I got home, made sure I prepared my meal, and as you can see, I seasoned the fish and put it in the oven. I did my chicken. I got the stir fry right here to go with the proteins. Got the rice right here, ready to go. The most important thing is being consistent with your diet. You can do all the training in the world, but if your nutrition is not on point, you're not gonna see results. I've created a habit where I feel like if you're a good 80–90% of the time, you have that 10 or 20% to eat whatever or do whatever. And that equation has worked very well for me over the years, and it's kept me relatively fit, healthy, and also I train smart. So I think that all around, it's worked out great for me with no major injuries or any problem.
You may think that there's millions of guys that are just in shape their whole lives, and it's like, it's not. It's a rarity, and he's one of those individuals that's been able to do this and been able to do this for so long, and that just shows you his intelligence when it comes to health and fitness.
I remember seeing a picture of him leaning on a superbike. I was a superbike fanatic when I was younger. And before that, I'd not really looked at any other bodybuilder's physique and thought, oh, that's a goal, you know. I remember seeing that picture and I was very impressed, and I said to myself, that is a goal to reach, you know.
I love to train with Ulisses. Even if we are tired after a long day expo, we go to the gym and we enjoy doing what we love the most, that is having a good workout and a good pump. And I really admire when he gets pumped in the gym and he starts posing, he removes his t-shirt.
I started off in fitness 10 years ago, almost 15. And Ulisses was already at the top of the industry. I believe that fitness is one of the fastest growing and moving industries in the world. And Ulisses was able to keep up with the pace of change of this industry. He was one of my fitness idols, and then I ended up being his colleague.
I'm sure you guys know that Ulisses is the posing king. So I went to see him and he gave me a bunch of tips. So I was going to do my first show. We started training together, and yeah, me and Ulisses had some great sessions, man, some great laughs.
I've had people tell me and would joke around and be like, dude, you've won everything. Why you still work out? You don't have to work out anymore. But they don't understand, you work out because the habit is created. You love it. When I tell people my age, they're usually surprised all the time. I am 47 right now, and in 3 years I'll be 50. So I've been training for quite a long time, and I think staying healthy, working out would help with everything.
The respect I have for him is because I know what it takes on the outside of the gym, because you're just seeing one aspect of him. You just see this body and you go, okay, great, he works out and eats well. It's like, no, he lives this healthy lifestyle. And that it really does start in the mind, and in how he sets up his family and how he sets up his training and his lifestyle.
You walk into a room and you're a physically fit person, people take notice. So it just goes to show, that sends a message. It's kind of like, you know what? Let's stay active, let's stay fit. And this is for everyone, not just people that just work out and lift weights. We are heading to MuscleWorks in the city. MuscleWorks, Bethnal Green. It's an important gym because it's actually the first gym I went to when I moved to the UK. I actually have an interest in purchasing the gym one day and making the gym a lot bigger, a lot better, and just building the name and building the brand even more. So I think it's very good to actually go there and take a trip there, meet some of the members, and check out the gym and catch a workout. And it'd be great to actually show everyone that gym, because hopefully one day I will own that gym.
After 300 yards, take the first exit to the roundabout.
People know me, and sometimes they don't bother me, but sometimes they do, so it really depends. It's a hit or miss. I'll go there, I'll meet quite a lot of people, and then I'll go there sometimes, but I try to go there when it's not busy. They've seen me there quite a few times, and they will just nod or say hello, and you know, they don't stop me too much, but it's fun to go there and just catch up with them. I love my home gym, but I think after a certain amount of time, you're always gonna need that little extra motivation. You see someone next to you benching 2 plates or 3 plates, you want to do the same. You want to push yourself. And I think being in an environment like that really helps you, and it helps motivate you to go that extra mile.
This gym, everyone has been here, traveled here. If you've come to London, we visited MuscleWorks gym, and they always have people's pictures that are here. Unfortunately, I'm one of the guys that they have on the wall, so my shot is there with all the other guys, I guess, that's traveled here and trained here. I'm really grateful for it, actually, to be honest.
The Ulisses brand for me is obviously creating different revenue streams, building an image, partnering with different companies, and working with different people. One of the first things I wanted to do to get a team behind me. I have a PA, I have an agent, I have people that work for me to make sure we're productive. And productive doesn't necessarily mean cash, you know. It also means connecting with different companies, different people. I have hundreds of companies that actually send me stuff to try out, to test, to use. I learned very early that a lot of these celebrities and people I've worked with, they created all these different revenue streams. So they have their acting, they have their modeling, they have their commercials that they do. With fitness, I have partnerships with different companies. I have my clothing range and accessories, which I sell. I was fortunate and grateful to build up a good fan base on Instagram, Facebook, now TikTok, etc. So you want to use that fan base. Yeah, it's great to inspire people and motivate people, but you also got to use that fan base and monetize that fan base. People are following you for a reason. Now, if you have any product along with those ideas and tips that can kind of correlate with each other, then people are like, oh wow, I will give this a try, maybe it might work for me. And I pride myself in that, because all these companies, I've worked with them for years, because I think that shows longevity in what you do. If companies don't think you're that great, they wouldn't work with you for 5, 6, 7 years, really. And then I have my actual trips that I do in terms of like promoting a gym, opening a gym, doing seminars and that kind of stuff. So that's different as well. So it's a long way from just being a personal trainer, training someone, getting $20, $40 an hour. You see, you build a brand, and with that brand, you monetize that brand, you network with that brand, and you create partnerships with that brand, and which is what I've done with the Ulisses brand. For now, I think the one I'm most proud of would be working for biotech, for example. I worked with companies for 5 years or more. I mean, biotech has been more than 5 years. I think it's like 6 or 7 years now. There's loads of supplement companies. I've always wanted to build success and partnerships with solid companies, and it's always worked that way for me. And anytime I think about that, it's not even about the longevity, it's not even about the money, it's not even about none of that. It's the fact that I'm able to travel to different countries and experience different cultures, which I would not be able to do that selling my merchandise or selling my training programs, you see what I mean? That's really rewarding when people come and meet you. They're almost crying, talking like, wow, you inspired me, or I was in a dark place before, and then I would always look out for your videos, I would watch them, then I'll go to the gym, and it's just, so biotech has given me that opportunity to actually travel like that and meet people. Because why? You can see what you're doing is making a difference. I'm from a small country in West Africa called Sierra Leone. I've been involved in the fitness industry for over 25 years. I've worked with amazing celebrities. I've won a lot of bodybuilding championships. I've gone through a lot of heartbreaks, but I never gave up. I want to take you into my world and how it all started. Even though we were poor, it was very hard, but it was still enjoyable. Because in Africa, at the time, we cooked outside in an area where you use the wood. And my grandmother used to cook at night or in the evening. So I used to have to hold the kerosene lamp. The lamp, because there was no electricity at the time. So I would hold the lamp while she's putting the ingredients in the pot, fixing the wood. As much as that was like hard because we were poor, sometimes my grandmother wouldn't have the money till late to go to the market, but she always made sure we had food. My vivid memories was with my grandmother. It was happy because I loved her and she loved me. She took care of me and my little sister at the time. My dad wasn't there, my mom wasn't there. My dad was abroad trying to do well so he can send for me. My mom at the time was, I think, a stewardess. So she was with Nigerian Airlines and she was traveling. So she needed the job as well because she didn't have any money. But my grandmother was there and she could take care of us.
He was very close to his grandmother when he was growing up. His grandmother loved him. She really loved him. I wasn't around him at that point when he was young, but all she did was talk about my brother. She talked about him like he was the only grandchild. And she was the one that he raised. He was the one that she raised to, I don't know how old he was when he left, when his mother came and took him from his grandmother.
And just having food was like, oh, wow. It's kind of like you getting your paycheck for the month and it's like with a bonus. And you're like, yes, we got food. We're gonna be eating meat this weekend. It was tough growing up. It was just really, really hard. We didn't have any money. And I remember vividly, used to go to construction sites and ask them for a job for the day. Obviously, I was like 10 or 11, I don't remember. I'm not even legally supposed to work, and in the evening I'll be sitting on a pile of rocks. All the rocks I've broken. And then I'll get some money, I'll take it to my stepmom at the time, and she will go to the market, get some food, and we'll get it for the day. So I think the work ethic was instilled in me anyway from a very early age, where when you're in Africa and you're poor and you don't have anything, you're gonna find a way to make ends meet. But that's how you survive, that's how you eat. I think there you just have that, that drive and that ambition to just want better, because there's no electricity, there's no jobs, there's no nothing. And you're even wondering about food. Where I think here, even if you're poor, you have the basic necessities. I think in Africa, they don't have that. Here, they take a lot of things for granted. Just having electricity. Forget your PlayStation, Xbox, and TV and all that. We didn't have that. Back then at nighttime, there was a central fire and everyone sat around there. We'll tell stories. It wasn't even a book to read a story. Someone would tell a story. That's how it was. I think those instincts for people that grew up in Africa are a lot sharper than people that grew up in Europe or America. My hope back then as a young teenager was like, oh wow, I need my dad to come back and get me, because you're aware of hardship already. My desire was like, you know what, I want to leave, I want to go abroad. I used to pray and be like, God, just get me away from here, send me abroad, and so I promise you I would repay you if I was able to travel abroad. I promise you I would work hard. I promise you I would do this. I used to say those prayers all the time. And for me, I knew once I left there would be opportunities for me. My dad was a professor. He was traveling, he was teaching. I knew abroad there were like more opportunities. My mom one time came and she brought me a Sony Walkman. I was the man in school.
Put on a Walkman and see the world in a whole new light. Sony Walkman. The Walkman from Sony, the one and only.
Back then, for me, that was like my prized possession. That was like, wow, I had a Sony Walkman, a yellow one, the expensive one with the matching headphones. Everyone was like, wanted to be my friend because I had a Sony Walkman that my dad sent for me from abroad. So you can see, that's just a perfect example of thinking, wow, if I go abroad, there's so many opportunities. I can get a lot of this Walkman. I used to be upset when my roommates or friends would throw food away. I'd be like, no, don't throw that away. Save the pizza. I'll eat it tomorrow. And he's like, why? They used to look at me like I was a weirdo, like, you know, like, but it wasn't that, because my background, where I came from, we didn't have that. You're looking for your next meal. You get a Sony Walkman, you're happy. You get a Sony Walkman, you're happy.
Between 1991 and 2002, Sierra Leone went through one of the longest and most brutal civil wars in the region that destroyed the country and made it a shadow of itself. The war, which lasted 11 years, was characterized by extreme brutality, including widespread atrocities such as rape, mutilation, and the use of child soldiers.
Imagine you grew up with your family and everyone had to leave. So my dad got the job, he had to go. My stepmom had to go with her. My brother and sister had to leave. They had American passports and they can leave. And I was like, my dad's like, don't worry, we'll send for you. We'll make sure you'll leave within a year, but we have to take this opportunity. And that was during the time when the Diamond War, with child soldiers and stuff like that. And I was in the city at the time, waiting for my dad to send for me. And when you have to survive, you have to survive. I literally left, I think, within 6 months or 4 months of the rebels hitting the city. I got my visa, and then I was waiting to get my ticket. I think ticket at the time was 800 or 1,000, and my dad didn't even have the money. I realized later that he had to borrow money from a colleague, one of his colleagues that he works with in the university, to send my ticket so I can leave and be out of there before the war started. I got out of there and the war started, and I remember watching it on TV. I could see them downtown, I could see soldiers, and I'd be like, I lived there, I just came from there, you know what I mean? So it was, God knows what would have happened if my dad couldn't send for me and I would have stayed there. We wouldn't be here. And for me, when I think about all of that, it makes me want to work harder. That's why I never want to settle. Finally got my visa, got everything. But when I left Africa and went to America, that's when everything opened up.
When I was young, my daddy said, gotta keep one eye open in your bed. 'Cause there's a time coming when the devil gonna come for you. So my trigger finger, stay prepared.
I remember the first school I went to, it was only 2 black kids there. I was the proper immigrant kid from Africa, you know, and they will ask you all these stupid questions like, you know, you guys live on trees there and all this stuff. It's crazy. It's kind of like you come to America, you're happy, but then you get put in a culture where it was just like, damn, there's no other black people here or black kids. And they're being friendly because maybe the teacher told them like, look, he's lonely, he's sitting there by himself, go speak to him. You know what? It's better than being back in Freetown where there's a war going on right now. I'm cool, you know, I'm okay. Was there a lot of times you were probably bullied or picked on. Yeah, there were racist stuff here and there. I mean, now some of those things wouldn't go on, you don't get me wrong, but back then people got away with it, and you learn not to even say anything. You just deal with stuff your own. I think that kind of set the tone for me to just man up, do what I gotta do, and do it by yourself. No one is gonna come there to help you. No one is going to do anything. You have to fight your own battles. So I did that, and yeah, I persevered for that year in school. The only thing I got from my dad when he passed away was this. These are documents, his books. He wrote it. No past, no present, no future. It's my dad's book on there. So in terms of like, in the world of literature and lecture, he was pretty famous. So this was when he passed away, they were celebrating him. He was in the newspaper and everything. And yeah, so he had a lot of stuff he wrote and left for me, which for me, this is more valuable than money or anything. I didn't care. I just wanted all these important pictures, family pictures, as you can see. Got everything in here. I would be lying to say I had a great relationship with my dad. I did not. My dad was your typical African dad that was very straight, rigid. Do as I say, or you get the bell, or you leave my house. That's simple as that. There's no discussion here. There's no gray area. And he was one of those guys that could tell you about the pyramids, how civilization started. That's how he got out of Africa. He wasn't born in America. He got a scholarship to go study abroad. And he wanted to teach, and he wanted, so that's how he got his break. But I realized people that are highly intellectual and very smart are very eccentric. They always have a weakness on something. And my dad's weakness at the time was alcohol. He would sit there and drink a lot. And I think being an alcoholic caused a problem as well. So when you are someone that's rigid and don't tolerate anything, then you drink alcohol, I think any little thing will set you off. You had the cultural part, which I will raise my hand up for. You know, I was wearing my pants sagging. I was, you know, rapping Tupac, Biggie, you know, F words, this, that, and the other. But he did not like that. And then when he's had his drink and he sees me with my pants down, he's gonna go off. And it got to a boiling point where he kicked me out. He kicked me out of the house, and basically it was really tough because my grandmother wasn't there. No one was there. I was literally on my own, and I was homeless for a little bit. And I put everything in my car, and I used to actually drive out of school. And then when the school was all quiet and everything, and no one was there, I would drive back into the school, go way in the back in the parking lot and park there, and I would sleep in my car. And the school eventually figured out that I wasn't going home. And eventually they placed me with a family, where a family takes in kids that need help, and you can stay there temporarily until you like find a job or find a place for yourself. And that's where my transition started. And it was really hard. It was really, really tough. In the States, you will go out for a certain sport. So when they saw that I was athletic and I could perform in track and I could perform in football, they were like, oh, that's when I started having friends. I remember the football players and the quarterback and all the top football players got the top pickings of the girls. You know? That's how it works. I guess that's just how life is, even at that young age, you know? I started running track and they were like, oh, you won the race, or wow, you scored that goal. And then people were like, oh yeah, the little immigrant kid, he scored. Oh shit, he's good. And they were like, yeah, he's good. And then I'll just be like, yeah, yeah. And then, you know, I started getting little perks here and there. And the coach would pull me in the corner, yeah, you're gonna be, we're playing this Friday, you ready? And I'll be like, yeah, I'm ready, coach. And all the other kids would see that. They'll be like, oh shit, yeah, he's cool now. He's all right. He's one of us. You know, that kind of stuff. And that's how stuff started getting better. But you know what's crazy? And I wanted to work out and I wanted to train. I wanted to put on size because I was very skinny. You realize you have to work your ass off to get picked, the coach to notice you and all that stuff. And I realized that fitness was like, okay, if I train, if I'm good at this, I'll get picked. I'll get more girls. I'll get attention. You get everything, you know. That shit is like currency back in the days, you know what I mean? Fitness was always been my way of elevating myself, whether it's, you know, making me feel better, improving my mood, and giving me confidence. It's been there for me since day one, from when I first came to Europe or America. I got into American football because everyone was doing it, but my heart was always football, not American football, but soccer. They call it soccer, but football is what I call it. That's what I played in Africa, you know what I mean? When you get out of school in Africa, you stayed for an hour or 2 hours playing football, and you'll get home, your white shirt would be brown with all the dust. So I transitioned from that, and I was stronger now, so I could play football, real football, and be even better. And I did very well, actually. My dad was teaching at the time at University of Leeds, and I've never been to the UK. And I remember I did an exchange program, and I was going to a school in Leeds. And that's when my football really took off. And I remember my gym PE teacher at the time, who was the football coach, begging my dad. He's like, he's got potential, you really leave him. And my dad would not have it. And he's like, no white man is gonna raise my kid, that's not happening. And that's how my football episode took off, and then it just kind of sank.
As it was in August for the Community Shield, Havertz, and now it's Martinelli, and it's a big deflection, and it's an Arsenal goal.
I have love for football. I watch it to this day. English Premier League, I watched that. We had tickets, season tickets before to Arsenal. Arsenal is my team. I follow them continuously, and I watch everything from Champions League to even the FA Cup, the Premier League. It's in me. Even when I talk to a lot of my American friends, they're like, do you watch soccer? Why? You know? And I'm just like, dude, it's fun. It's like, I like it, you know? So but I think because of fitness, I'm aware of a lot of sports. You really rate those athletes because it's a lot of work. You have to give them credit for what they put their body through. If I wasn't a fitness guy and there was another thing I would have done or would have loved to have done, would love to be a professional football player. When I was in New York, I was with a group of guys. There was a gym that used to be called Carmine. The only guys you saw at the gym like your proper, you know, shady guys, just there training, like big guys, you know, gangsters just doing their chest press, and that was just it. So I joined and I wanted to work out, you know, and build myself. And I used to go there all the time. But I used to do it with a good friend of mine, and we used to train together in New York all the time.
And there were a lot of muscle heads in there and all sorts of people. And there we were laughing through our workout because that's what we did. We're always laughing about something. Life was amusing with Ulysses around.
We found out there was another gym in 23rd Street that was called Asta Levy. That's where I met Shara, by the way.
I seen him a few times at the gym. And then we quickly, you know how it is, right? I was doing my lunges and squats and he was doing his back and constantly looking. So I was like, interesting. Our relationship moved very quickly because, you know, one of those things when it's kind of like you just know. He's Ulysses to you, but he's just dad and husband to me.
I was just surprised because you don't really see girls in there. It was guys in Timberland boots, jeans, you know, some just came out of jail. You know, it's just that, it was that kind of environment. And there was one guy there, huge. His name was Ishmael. I was even scared to ask him, like, dude, I just started training. I was wondering what protein you recommend or something. And I said it in the softest voice ever. And basically, Ishmael was the same guy that came to me maybe 6 months later or a year later. He's like, yo, I'm with a group of guys and we do calendars and we do stuff and this, that, and the other. And we're having a meeting, you should come along. I think you could do some work with us. And we'll do a calendar, we sell our calendar in all these festivals, and girls buy the calendar. And I was like, shit, that's a nice side hustle. And that's how I got involved with the fitness and doing pictures and doing calendars and doing stuff like that.
And when he came to visit me in London, you know, he's all cut with the abs and all that kind of thing. And yeah, I just thought it was something that kept him going. I never thought about it as something that he would end up having a career in.
As you can see, this was 2003 calendar. Ancient years ago, 20 years ago, man. That's Ishmael right there. The rest was history. I started hanging out with the guys, doing calendars. You're just hustling on the side, really. Yeah, this was my shot for that year on the beach. I think we took this in Coney Island or something. It wasn't an exotic beach, but it was all right. And yeah, this is it. With the boys. Let's say Macy's, the big department store, they were having like a showcase for their athletic department. They started using fitness guys. We started getting calls. And we'll make a lot of side money, side hustle. And then that's when the group of guys decided, yo, let's do a bodybuilding show. I was looking at old videos of Arnold, old videos of Frank Zane, because I like their style of posing. And I went to the show. I won the show. I won my novice division. I won the open. I won the overall. I won the overall novice overall. And it was crazy. And I just thought in my mind, with my physique at the time, I would be in the top 5 somewhere. You know what I mean? But when I got there and I started seeing the competition and stuff, I was like, no, I think I could win this. Definitely can win the novice. And then the open was harder, but then I won that. And then it just snowballed into like, and then the judges was like, look, you have really good potential. You have a good physique. You know, you should really think about doing this, you know, regularly. And I was like, oh wow, you know what? Why don't I do this every year? And after I won a couple of local low-level shows is when Muscle Mania came to talk to me. They were like, oh, they always scouted guys that had the complete package. So your physique looked good, your face looked good, you don't look too big, we like you, we want to use you. Muscle Mania also played a really intricate part of me being consistent and training for a purpose. So I got my pro card, and that's when I started realizing that, you know what, this is something here. I could do very well in this. I could build a brand. I could do amazingly well. And that was how the journey started with bodybuilding.
His aesthetic poses are so crazy, amazing, and I still looking at him like a little kid, and he always wanna have one of the best bodies in the world.
The guy possesses an awesome physique. It looks like something that's carved out of a stone. It looks like a carving of Hercules that Michelangelo did, because it was just, the body that he possessed is so perfect that for me, as a bodybuilder itself, that it looked like it's just been carved out of a stone.
So in America, everything was great. I had a great job as a personal trainer, I had my own apartment, and everything was going well. And then my life just switched upside down. And you know what? This is how your life can just turn like a switch. I had a car accident and everything went downhill. I got hit by a car. That was probably one of the most depressing times in my life. I wasn't supposed to be there. I just went with him to help him out, one of my best friends at the time. And I remember after work, I had my backpack with all my, you know, I meal prep and my protein, everything in my bag. And I'm like, okay, let's go. Literally, we're crossing the road and we just heard a screeching noise, like a car just coming around the corner. And then we looked up and it was just headlights. And we both jumped and the car literally got me by my ankle. Boom, like that. I was just lucky because I had my backpack and I landed on my back. And literally my leg was broken in 2 places, basically. It was, yeah, it was really devastating. This is actually what made my recovery almost a year, which was just really hard. And that's when you're in a dark side like that, the only assurance I had was from the gym. They were like, look, we love you, you're a great guy, great work ethic, when you recover, you always have a job here. So that was my only thing. But other than that, financially, I think I had a little bit of money saved up, but it was gonna run out. Even my landlord was like, you know what, don't worry about rent. Don't worry about the rent. I know when you're working, you're always good. And I just had some people that really looked out for me. But the crazy thing is, people you thought would help you, family and friends that you think would help you, never did. So imagine mentally how that would affect you when you're someone that's used to working out, training, good physique, outgoing and all that, and now you have to sit in the room and recover for 8 months. Basically like being in prison. My diet at the time was ramen noodles. I went and got a bunch of eggs. I got some friends to get me eggs. That was it. I think I lost about 12 kg or something, which was like roughly 25 pounds. 26 pounds is what I lost. This leg was half the size of this one. And I remember looking at myself in the mirror and just like, fuck. But even at that time when I was down, when no one was there, I still felt like there were people out there that was worse than me. So just, you know, just cheer up and you'll be all right. That's what I kept telling myself, because I kept thinking, fuck. I could have been back in Freetown. I could have been a child soldier. I could have been shot in the bush somewhere, left to die. My parents are in America. No one cares because there's a war going on. No one knows where you are. You don't have no one's number. You're just now an orphan. So when I thought about that, and I'm like, yeah, shit, I'm better off. And the toughest thing, one of the toughest things and one of the saddest moments for me. And I remember this vividly because my dad called me to tell me that my grandmother passed. But unfortunately, since I was an illegal immigrant in America, I couldn't travel back. I didn't even have the money, even if I wasn't. All I could do is just sit there and cry for like the whole day. And anytime I think about her, I would just cry, you know? I felt like the last thing I could do is pay my respects, go see her being buried and everything. But yeah, I wasn't even able to do that. So that part, if I could go back and change anything, that would be something I would do. When I got through that, I felt to myself, you know what? I got through this, I can get through anything. I've been in dark places before, so for me, nothing really phases me anymore, really. Any little setback, like you're upset with your wife or you're upset with your kids, or you know, something didn't go well with your work, that's nothing. So that's why everything is positive for me, and that's how I look at life. After hitting rock bottom and after going through the rehab, I just went back in the gym like a beast.
Running in place, y'all really testing my patience. Right before I blow up the spot, I had to get back to the base.
I just was really on it, really training hard. I actually even stayed there longer. So you can imagine, just all the stuff playing in your head. Are you gonna walk again? Is it gonna be the same size, the legs? Would I get my job back, you know? And how would I get back into my training? I wanna compete. So, but I just kind of went full steam ahead with my training. And I was just really hitting the gym hard, and it paid off. I met a very good friend of mine, a guy by the name of Jamel Keels. He really liked my routine and how I posed and everything, and he wanted me to help him. Started helping him, and then he introduced me to a friend of his, at the time was a celebrity, Harry Connick Jr. And that's how I actually got my first break. And I remember it vividly because when he said it to me, he's like, I'll pay you a salary. And at the time it was a $5,000 a month is what he was going to pay me. And I was like, wow. I didn't have a car at the time. I lived in New York City. And he bought me a brand new Jeep. Not only did he do that for me, but he also was like, look, I got a lot of friends that want to train. You're going to train them and we're going to charge them $100 an hour. And I was like, we can do that? He's like, yeah, we can do that. To him, it's probably nothing. But to me, it at the time was the world. It was everything. So I'm forever grateful about that. And this is a guy that doesn't know me from anywhere. He doesn't have to help me. He doesn't have to look out for me. He didn't even know my story of where I was from or nothing. He was just kind of like, I want to help you. that's what got me on my road to success in terms of saving money and becoming a bit successful. Someone somewhere in your life will give you an opportunity. How you use that opportunity is up to you. But what I learned more, how successful people operate. He had a team behind him. He had his manager, he had his agent, he had his PA, he had everyone that worked for him, kind of like a fine-tuned machine. I learned a lot from actually working for him. The people that have the money to pay for things don't even pay for it. He's successful, he's built his brand, people love him, people like him, and he gets a lot of perks and a lot of stuff just for being who he is. And I just took note of that. Let's be honest, bodybuilding doesn't pay. Building your brand or building a business is what's going to sustain you, and how you interact with people and how you communicate with people. So for me, I took a lot of life lessons working with a lot of celebrities that I've worked with. I mean, I've worked with Will Smith. He flew me to the Bahamas. I was getting him ready for a movie that he was doing.
I'm here in the Bahamas, kicking off a hardcore Hell Week with my man Ulysses.
What's up? What's
He's down
up?
here. He gonna get me right. He gonna get the gun show started.
Oh, come on. We have this rule. Whenever you miss like that, you start
all over again. I missed it on 9. If it's not on Instagram, it didn't happen.
Giselle Bundchen, the Victoria's Secret model, did a photo shoot with her that lasted for like 8 hours. And I remember going for the audition and the line was like long, literally wrapped around blocks. You wait in line for 3 hours to get 10, 15 second look at. 10 seconds, 15 seconds, okay, thank you, we'll give you a call. I actually didn't even think they would call me at all. I'm saying this because I worked with different celebrities from different fields, and I was able to learn how are they successful, how did they stay successful, and what did they do. They're making goals, they're achieving. So I started doing that. I started modeling myself, building my brand, and it so happened that social media came into effect at the time.
I had many sleepless nights of editing, doing stuff, putting stuff together. Then I would post in the morning, and then I would go to work, then I'll repeat that again. So it's years of hard work, years of putting it together. And in the beginning, people used to actually laugh about it, like, no one cares if you're doing bicep curl, why are you posting about your biceps? And then I started getting a lot of emails of people that really wanted to work out. But I think it was really truly organic then, and that's what caused the boom.
I think he was on Facebook at the time, and I said, look man, you need to get on Instagram. You need to share your journey because like, it's buzzing over there. And yeah, he created his Instagram and it went crazy.
I was there when the rocket ship took off. We were meeting in Las Vegas for some event that he was doing, and before he left London, he posted a picture, and I was coming from LA. When I got to the hotel, he says, bro, look what's going on. He shows me the phone, and the phone was lighting up like a Las Vegas slot machine. It was just going ping, 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 ping. It was crazy, the numbers were spinning. That one picture was getting hundreds and hundreds of likes, and then thousands and thousands and thousands of likes. And that was the thing which was exciting, that picture that sent him like to the top.
And I wasn't surprised, you know, because he has a phenomenal physique and people warm to that physique and to that passion.
And that's when I actually started doing ebooks. You can actually see, this is actually one of my phones, And here there's 72,000 unanswered messages on there. There were many people that got in at the right time. It's about being consistent and giving out great content and stuff that people want. When TikTok started, I was not really into TikTok. I really thought of it as TikTok is for kids to play little prank jokes and stuff like that. That's what I thought. But I realized the people that adapt to changes are the people that are successful. Do not consume within 4 hours of sleep. Yeah, whatever.
Are you okay?
So I was like, okay, I can use TikTok and do a lot of my humor stuff. A lot of the stuff I do, gym humor, home humor, I can do that. So let's do that. And then I started doing that. And now it's almost 3 million followers. So now we have a network of over 15, 16 million collectively on different platforms.
So that's the coolest thing for me, is to see somebody else that I can be on this journey with, that is not just there for a flash, just a moment of time. This guy hits it famous and then he's gone. You know, like so many of these guys that I've seen through the decades, he's one of those guys that outlasts. And that to me is that kinship, that brotherhood I have with him, because he's one of the few that I've been able to talk to over decades, and him continuously be in this kind of shape, both physically and mentally, and as a good person.
Blackberries. Building your brand, online training, all that kind of stuff. You have the online training, you have the products, you have the partnerships, then you can schedule your seminars and all that. So basically, you can live anywhere in the world, but that's why you get all these influencers going to Dubai. But me, I kind of like more settled. Like, I don't mind traveling to those places and doing my content and doing my work. But when I come back here, I know it's just peace.
Everyone on Instagram is a trainer now. So how are you different from the millions that are on Instagram that are trainers? So I think as a trainer, and years of training, years of competing, you've got to have some kind of knowledge to be able to pass on. So I was smart enough to be able to bottle that and be able to create content now that I think is more rewarding. I inspire, I motivate people, and I use it as a business to help people that like my content and want to try what I've done that's made me successful.
Very few people come close to him. He sets the example for everyone else that comes after him, and it's very inspiring, and I learn a lot from him.
Yes, he looks like this Greek god and this incredible physique and stuff, but he's so humble and down to earth and willing to share and willing to teach and give the information that's helped him through the decades, and also talk about what he's done incorrectly. And that just takes another level on top of who he is as a person and the character he is. This is where my shortcomings are. This is what I've excelled at. This is what works. This is what didn't work for me. Maybe it works for you.
I think Ulisses is one of the most successful icons in the fitness industry because he always has been a very hard worker and dedicated person. He always has been doing content, working on the content, traveling, going around all the world, all the events, and also because he's so honest and loyal with his fans. And also he always showed his real person, being himself with his family and friends.
He's intelligent enough to understand that, yes, the body's important. Yes, we have to create this Mr. Universe physique. But more than anything else, it is the concept of how do I set myself up to be able to do this for the next 10, 20, 30 years.
I realized very early in life that no one's going to do anything for you. No one is going to be there for you. I had an injury, no one is going to be there. No one's going to come see you. No one's going to help you. So right away, I realized that, you know what? I've got to work for myself. I got to fend for myself. God help those that help themselves. Very simple. So if you're trying to help yourself, you're trying to progress, if people seeing you doing hard work, you're putting in the grind, then others would help you. It's not by luck. It's not by fluke. People see that you're genuinely got that work ethic and you're a good person. They will give you a hand. Is it done yet? No, the work is not done yet. Yeah, I mean, got a good start. But there's a lot more to building the legacy and the brand. And again, that's what makes me want to strive even more, because it's kind of like, I think a lot of people will be content if they were me, to be like, okay, he doesn't even have to work a 9 to 5. He does his online business, he's doing well, he travels the world, he's got a good life, he's got properties, it's great, he can just chill. It doesn't stop. When I say the grind doesn't stop, it doesn't apply to just the gym. It applies to everything in life. So it's building more businesses, acquiring more businesses, going global even more, where you have acquisitions in different places, and then you can sit back, then you can look at everything and be like, okay, wow. I think the training obviously would be with me for the rest of my life. I'd probably be 80 years old and still doing my 2 kg dumbbell curls. So for me, that's always going to be there.
To me, it's just true respect. And again, one of these people that I think the younger crew that is coming up, these kids today, should look at somebody like him and say, this is who I want to mimic. This is who I want to ask those questions, who I need to learn from. It's an amazing thing to see somebody at that level for that long. And I think if for all of us out there that is doing this health and fitness, he's doing it right.
That being said, I would love to own a gym and be able to pass on a lot of knowledge that I have to a lot of the youngsters that are coming up that want to compete or just be physically fit, that I can actually be stable at and be able to help a lot of people and pass on the knowledge, not only just online, on social media, but physically as well with people moving forward. Well, if my kids would tell stories about me, they would always say I'm a straight shooter and I'm a hard worker. And I think they'll think I'm a good dad. I'm pretty fair, I'm pretty honest, I'm pretty straightforward with them.
I'm super proud of him and I admire him. You know, I'm one of his biggest fans. I'm his biggest fan. The kids are his biggest fan. We adore him. You know, I don't want to cry.
I always try to teach them stuff that my dad taught me in Proverbs and stuff like that. Respect people. Why? Because like they told us in Africa, someone that's older than you has seen the stars, the sun, and the moon before you, and potentially is more wiser than you. So whatever you're going to experience, they've probably experienced it. So if they're giving you a tip or an advice, even if you don't like it, take it in, because you might use it one day. I'm trying to raise you right so you can raise your kids right. And then I have good grandkids, and I'm happy. As you can see, guys, life throws a lot of obstacles in your way. How you deal with these obstacles is what makes you who you are. Like I always say, dedication has no limitation. Always be dedicated to your craft and what you love in life. I am comfortable, but I'm not satisfied. I still got work to do, so let's keep going.